Once again, there's a lot of stuff to talk about today for this episode of the Tommy Maroon Sports Show. We hope you enjoy this episode right here on WCTV. And, of course, there's a lot of excitement going on right now with sports coming back. May not be the way we want to, but you know what? Why should one complain about it? I don't know about you, but I'm pretty darn happy about it. And you know what I'm also happy about? I'm happy about NASCAR, because NASCAR, of course, that's been going on since mid-May, and it's been over 2 months. And NASCAR's ratings, of course, been way up there. Everybody's been enjoying NASCAR, and what they've been doing has been really good. At first, they thought they were a little crazy restarting in May when no one else was, but it turns out they were right, and it turns out they've been doing a really good job. And last Thursday, they were at the Kansas Speedway, which is pretty close to Kansas City, Kansas. First opened in 2001, and was also first year it hosted a NASCAR race. And it is home to usually 2 races a year. I don't know about this year because, of course, how the virus threw everything off and how they've had to double up, maybe triple up sometimes on some speedways. But anyways, we've seen Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Kevin Harvick win at Kansas 3 times each. That's right, 3 newer racers, but 3 legends nonetheless. Of course, there was a Super Start Batteries 400 presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts last Thursday. I don't know if there were any fans there. It sure looked like there wasn't. I do know one thing, and it was that Denny Hamlin won. Denny Hamlin won again. It's his 5th win of the season. Kyle Busch won stage 1 and Brad Keselowski won stage 2. And for poor Joey Logano, he hit the wall back on lap 176. It was a good race right there, of course. He and Harvick, I believe, had the pole. It was very close when we got towards the end of it with Kevin Harvick, Ryan Preece and Ryan Newman got into an accident where Ryan Preece hit the wall, and that was back at lap 182. They weren't happy about it, no sirree, but yeah, it was definitely not good for either Ryan there. But you know what was good? Kyle Busch taking home that first stage. He's won 58 career races. Hasn't won a race so far this year, but he's definitely hungry for it. Anyways, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, and Martin Truex Jr., they were all into it towards the end of the race. And it was close. It was very close. Ended at about 11 here in Wadsworth or wherever you live throughout Northeast Ohio. But it was just a great race. And there was no race last Sunday, but there is going to be one on Sunday. So the standings in the NASCAR Cup Series, and it's that Kevin Harvick is leading everyone in playoff points, while Denny Hamlin is a close second. Matthew DiBenedetto in 16th place, while Eric Jones is just missing the cutoff. And Jimmy Johnson is not in the postseason right now. He may not make it this year. That'd be very disappointing for all Jimmy Johnson fans out there, because he is definitely one of the best racers in all NASCAR, one of the greatest racers in NASCAR history. And of course, 10 racers have won this year, so you know what that means. If 16 racers make it and 10 have already clinched a spot, 16 minus 10 is 6. So therefore, 6 more spots are available for NASCAR postseason. So with the NASCAR being done with, on to the Cleveland Indians. It's a brand new season, but it's still the same game of baseball. There are some Indians masks because, of course, we all need to wear masks during these times. But yeah, there's a 60-game season this year. You play the teams in your division 10 times each. So, for instance, the Indians will play the Royals, Twins, White Sox, and Tigers 10 times each to prevent long-distance traveling. And you play interleague teams 4 times each, and it depends. Like, for instance, if you're in the AL Central, you play the NL Central. If you're in the AL East, you play the NL East. And if you're in the AL West, you play the NL West. Just like what we saw last night when Joe Kelly mocked Carlos Correa and the Sign Stealers. Dodgers won luckily because nobody likes the Sign Stealers. Bunch of crybabies out there who definitely deserved that loss last night. And the Sign Stealers can still hit that trash can for sign stealing. But right now, we're not talking about sign stealing. We're talking about the new season. No fans are allowed at the games. Social distancing and masks are highly encouraged during the league. In fact, Anthony Rizzo has given out hand sanitizer to people who reach first. Of course, Rizzo, first baseman for the Chicago Cubs, that team that beat us in the World Series. I'm never going to get over it. But the postseason field has been expanded from 5 teams in each week to 8 teams in each week. The quarterfinals is the best of 3 with all 3 games at the higher seeds home. So we have some series recaps. Cleveland Indians were playing the Kansas City Royals first series. Indians won that series 2-1. Where Shane Bieber, that guy right there, Shane Bieber, 14 strikeouts, which is a franchise record for most strikeouts on opening day, and did it in just 6 innings. I thought he was going to get 20 strikeouts, but Tito just took him out. I mean, you still have such a talented bullpen, so I guess you can still do that. But anyways, Jorge Soler and Salvador Perez on the second game hit home runs each, and the game went to extra innings. Now, for those that don't know, extra innings is different this year. Instead of the usual stuff, there will be a guy at second base, automatic runner at second to start the inning. So, for instance, say the number 2 hitter is leading off in the 10th inning. That means the number 1 hitter goes to second base where he starts. Hopefully a little interesting, and the Royals were able to win it due to that. But yep. And Jose Ramirez, that guy who just ripped a double, who's been having a great season, on Sunday, he had 2 home runs, which is mighty impressive. It was looking really good out there, and Carlos Carrasco picked up the win. So then the Indians played the Chicago White Sox yesterday for a doubleheader, and the Indians won both the games. Lindor had 2-run bomb in Game 1, and then the next day, or no, not the next day, but later on that day, Bradley Zimmer hit a home run and added RBI. Well, Edwin Encarnacion, the former Cleveland Indian and now Chicago White Sox member, struck out to end the game. They had the tying run on base, too. Definitely very disappointing. And then later on that day, guess what? The Indians won again. Carlos Santana had a 2-run bomb. Everything was clicking for the Tribe, and Al Pleco had 6 innings, and I believe only surrendered about 2 runs. Anyways, we won the combined doubleheader by a combined score of 9-6. 4-3 Game 1, 5-3 Game 2, because 4 plus 5 is 9, 3 plus 3 is 6. Pretty simple math. And meanwhile, what's not good is that the MLB season is already panicking. What? Already? The news is that 17 Marlins players and coaches have already tested positive for COVID already. And the Marlins games, everything, their upcoming series, which was to be against the Orioles, was just canceled. And the upcoming weekend series against the Nationals also canceled. That is not good. And the Washington Nationals will not be playing as well this weekend. The Yankees and Phillies series got postponed, and I believe they will be postponed today and tomorrow. And of course, the Toronto Blue Jays have not going to play at the Skydome this year, but rather at their AAA site where Buffalo plays. Of course, no MILB season this year. But yeah, Toronto and Canada don't want anything to do with this MLB season because they don't want COVID cases to rise there. And meanwhile, Rick Renteria, the Chicago White Sox, unfortunately did not attend this upcoming series due to pending COVID tests. Could that grave right there, the third one, perhaps be true? Could it? Could baseball not happen this year? That is something I'm really concerned about. Some doctors are saying that may not happen. And for me, I just want to ask Rob Manfred, what is up with you. Why couldn't you think of anything? He only had one job, and it was to keep the players safe. This is what happens when you have really god-awful leadership out of the commissioner. I know the commissioner's got a lot of heat lately for what he has done in response to the sign stealing scandal and this COVID thing, and it makes sense. He's done terrible. I mean, they could put him in a bubble. I mean, what they could have done, AL Central plays themselves and the NL Central this year. They could have just put all the teams in a bubble in maybe 1 or 2 stadiums, maybe 2 or 3 stadiums all together. Just that simple. And it's all within the same place. Like, for instance, in the AL Central, I don't know, say they have the games at Guaranteed Rate Field, Wrigley Field, and maybe Miller Park or Busch Stadium in St. Louis. You can put everyone right there. That's not that far of a distance from each other. That's what they could have done. The MLB's comeback plan was a recipe of disaster and is not looking good at all. And this is what happens. They were quarreling with each other, the MLB and the MLBPA, and then they're like, you know what, 60-game season, let's go now. That quickly? You can't go that quick. You need to come up with a good plan. I know time was running out and they had to come up with something quick, but still, that's absolutely ridiculous. You guys couldn't think of anything at all. I mean, that's just puzzling to me. The NBA, NHL, they've been doing a good job, of course. The NBA is starting up tomorrow. He had a good plan. At first, they thought it was a little ridiculous, but now I realize, you know what? It works. It works. For the MLB, unfortunately, this does not work. And now, if the season gets delayed, you have to point your fingers at the MLB, point the fingers at Rob Manfred. Definitely some bad leadership, and I know he's going to want criticism, but he earns all that criticism, indeed. Now it's time to look at the NBA. That's right, I was talking about the NBA a few seconds ago, but the NBA is coming back, and comes back tomorrow. That's something good. And though I may be a little concerned about the MLB coming back, I know the NBA restart's definitely going to be pretty good. The deal was finalized on June 4th, and it comes after several months, about maybe 2.5 months, after careful planning from the NBA, the Board of Governors, and Adam Silver. So 22 teams have been invited to Disney World to continue the season. 9 teams from the Eastern Conference, 13 from the Western Conference. Fans are obviously not allowed at the games. And by the way, there's a little typo. I said 9 teams are from the Eastern Conference. I meant to say Eastern. Bit of a typo right there. Excuse me for that. Well, yes, each team plays 8 games from a stretch between tomorrow and August 14th. And if there's 4 games or less separating the 8th and 9th seeded teams, there will be a play-in tournament. And the playoff format will be the same as it usually is. And all the players are, of course, as we all know, in a bubble. You may not know what the bubble is, but luckily, I'm going to describe to you what the bubble is. Players are not allowed to leave Disney World due to COVID-19. Food and other needs will be provided. And they are not allowed to visit anyone outside the bubble during this time, including Lou Williams of the Los Angeles Clippers, who claimed that he was going to a family funeral. Turns out he was going to a party, and then got quarantined for the next 10 days. So yes, you have to be quarantined for 10 days, as it says. The bubble prevents the players from getting the risk of COVID-19, and it's been very successful. Pretty much 0 players by now have gotten the virus. It's just been working out well, and it allows the practices and team meetings to just go as normal. Everyone can be less than 6 feet. If one person's isolated by themselves, the other person's isolated, so on and so forth. They can all get together because they haven't been anywhere, unless if you're Lou Williams, as I mentioned a little while ago. It's been a good job so far, the NBA, and I definitely applaud them for that. And I really believe if there's going to be one league that's going to end up well, it could quite certainly be the NBA. So some big games to look out for. Los Angeles plays Los Angeles tomorrow. And then on Friday, the Celtics play the Bucks. Saturday, the Lakers play the Raptors. Sunday will be the Bucks against the Rockets, which, in case if you forgot, that was my original prediction for the NBA Finals at the way beginning of the season. Way beginning. Tuesday, the Celtics will play the Miami Heat. And then on the 6th, the Lakers play the Rockets. The day after that, it will be Boston and Toronto. August 10th, it's Denver and the Lakers. And then the next day would be Houston and San Antonio. Of course, San Antonio luckily got in that year. Of course, they were very worried about their playoff streak, which we'll get to later. And the OKC Thunder playing the Los Angeles Clippers on the final day. Of course, Steven Adams and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going up against guys like Kawhi, and hopefully Lou Williams will be back by then. But anyways, my predictions. It's going to come down to the Lakers and Bucks, as we all know. And as we all know, the Lakers are easily going to win the NBA Finals because who's going to stop AD and LeBron? And even though Giannis is having a great season, or had a great season, I mean, of course, he still has 8 more regular season games left to play. There's no way he can keep up with Davis and LeBron. No way. The Raptors and Celtics also have a good chance to win the Eastern Conference. Same with Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers. Same thing with the Denver Nuggets. Bol doing a good job there. He has definitely proven himself that he can really be a difference during these practice games that have been played. And, of course, can't forget about Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. And the Spurs' 22-year playoff streak is on the line right here. Does Coach Pop know what he can do to get them back in? And, of course, he is one of the greatest coaches in NBA history, and you can never doubt him because he knows what to do. The Suns can win their first NBA championship if everything just goes all wacky and stuff. And the NBA is looking pretty predictable this season, but it should be a great 8 games for each team and a great postseason. I'm really excited for that NBA restart. I know you're excited for it. I hope you are. I hope you'll watch. I know I'm going to be watching. Because, of course, just a lot of great stuff. So while the MLB, I don't know about that. At least we have the NBA to look forward to. And hopefully that could be something. So that's all for today's episode of the Tommy Maroon Sports Show. Can't wait to see you next week, of course. Hopefully the high school football season will be going. Of course, nothing added them for the season. However, scrimmages for all of August for football, field hockey, and a few other sports have been scratched for all of August. So I'm very unsure about the high school football season. I really hope we can have it. We're 30 days away right now. That's right, 30 days away from high school sports starting up, at least high school football. Is it going to start up? I don't know. I'm very unsure. But what I am very sure of is that you need to stay safe, wear a mask, keep 6 feet away from each other. So till then, goodbye, folks.